Sattler Files.
You're listening to the Sattler Files. My name is Murray Korf, and joining me in the studio today is retired Inspector Neil Royle. G'day, Neil.
Mr. Korf, good morning. Welcome back.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Great and Despin and I did an outstanding job.
Oh, look, I'm sure
last
you
week,
did.
as you'd expect.
Yeah.
But we expect
So
today
now
will
we're
be...
back to the B team now.
Oh, it's back. It's over the top stuff again this morning then. Well done. Good on you, mate.
We talk about all sorts of different subjects and one thing and another, and one of the things that really struck at me in the last couple of days has been the figures for crime and assaults and car theft and all sorts of things across Perth and I guess regional areas as well, that point to the fact that all of the stats are up. So we're getting more assaults, we're getting more cars stolen, and we're getting more crime, burglaries, and so on.
Yep. And
clearly, the thing isn't working that our commissioner put up there as the new policing model. So what's he going to do now?
well,
He's admitted it, hasn't he?
he has to, and he's on TV last night saying a few words as well, and saying that as far as models go, Ellen McPherson's the best one because the one he's got at the moment is hopeless. And the front page of the West, I haven't seen it, but I've certainly had the other comments on it from various other areas, and they've actually named the worst suburbs in the metropolitan area, but statewide.
I'm not sure about the regionals.
No, but and certainly the Ellenbrook and Gosnells and Armidale and Rockingham and Mandurah, all crack a mention as being, and of course the CBD is far and away the worst place in the state for violence.
Well, you kind of would expect that,
yes,
wouldn't you?
with the masses of people and so forth to go in there, and that's where the entertainment hub is and so forth. But the figures, 27% up and all this sort of stuff. And Midland, for example, another one, that got Michelle Roberts out of bed and onto the mat and sort of onto radio as well. And guess what she said?
Oh,
You'll find this hard to believe, Mary, and I'll get ready to be taken aback. She has said, we need more police on the roads.
Oh, what a revolutionary idea.
So, I'm just all the titter. I really am about this. So what a good idea. I wish I was a politician and think up these good ideas. We need more police on the roads. And
well, that's not at all predictable.
no. And now the commissioner is saying that and this is another revelation, that we need to get some of those uniformed police officers who are doing desk jobs out from those desk jobs back onto the road and bring civilians in to do these.
I'd never heard of that before.
Every 5 years they go through with a big broom and sweep them all out and chuck all these people out. And because you need to be do operational policing, you need to be operational.
Yeah.
And some police officers, by virtue of illness, recovery, rehab, or whatever it is they're getting, they cannot do those sorts of things. So rather than have them all put up against a wall and shot, you give them some jobs to do that don't involve them coming into contact with angry people.
No.
And of course the expertise of policing is necessary in desk jobs as well, obviously. We can't all. I mean, with my 40 plus years, I didn't spend all of it on the front line wrestling with angry people and so forth, because comes a time when you have others do that. And fortunately, I was in a position where I could send others there, wrestle with angry people rather than have to go myself. But they do this and they get rid of all these positions and put police officers back out on the road. And then it comes to pass that those there who are perhaps on the comeback trail to fully operational status, it affects them so that they are doesn't advance their recovery. It actually it hinders it. So it's a bit of a catch-22 thing, but there's still no getting away from the fact. And yes, we do know we need some more police officers out there. The state has grown, the population has grown, the pro rata percentage of goodies versus baddies has probably grown as well.
Yep.
And
so is there a measure, Neil, of the number of police per thousand or something of that nature, or is that the yardstick that they use, or is there another one?
It's the approved number for Western Australia, about 5,600, I think it is.
Per police officer?
For the state, 5,600 officers in strength.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Not per capita and so forth.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, you had to have the only per capita I knew about was the per capita for rank structure within police. So if you have one sergeant had 4. and then that went away. So one sergeant could have 100, it doesn't matter anymore. It all went away. So that was the only ratio that I actually knew about. But certainly governments, no matter what persuasion they are, historically don't like to increase the size of police forces because it's a signal that they've lost control of law and order.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
And that doesn't matter which way they go. I don't know why it is, but when you consider Ellenbrook, let's use Ellenbrook as an example. That's far and away a huge suburb up there.
And incredible growth.
Absolutely. And all the baddies going there knocking off pieces out of houses that are being built and all the rest. And it is really a hot spot out there. So for the Ellenbrook situation, they will measure up then for ambulance service and for fireys. To see, right, the population of so-and-so, we will need an ambulance base there to attend to get these people to the hospital, and if there's a fire, we need some fireys as well. The same calculation doesn't necessarily go into how many more police officers you need in there. All they tend to do is, once upon a time, regionalisation was the cornerstone of good policing. Yeah. Now centralisation is. And that'll go back to regionalisation in 5 years' time.
A bit like TAFE, really, isn't
it? Well, it is. So, and Michelle Roberts is saying, well, they used to have 7 police districts, now they've got 5. So they've just reduced the number of police districts. But, of course, there's still the same amount of coverage required by those people. And as I said, the thin blue line is getting so thin that it's hard recognisable as blue.
That's right.
You can see through it a bit.
Yeah.
So she's saying, need more police on the roads and get these civilians into desk jobs, and that's wonderful. But you watch the police force will counter this, and they've done over the years as well, and I've watched it very, very carefully. It's very clever. It's called creative accounting when it comes to police statistics.
Oh, yeah.
For example, drunkenness in the street. It used to be the blight of mankind once upon a time, but it's not there anymore. No one gets drunk in the street anymore.
Oh, okay.
No, because it got removed from the statute as an offence. It's not an offence to be drunk in the street, so henceforth there's no drunkenness anymore.
Oh, right, okay.
You can be disorderly,
yes,
and all those sort of stuff there will just take the place, but you're drunk in the street, not there. Begging alms used to be an offence.
Yes, it did. I remember that.
Yep. I think it may still be there, but very rarely used. And now I think you've got to give the begging person 3 warnings before you take any action.
Okay.
So all that sort of stuff. And in recent times, this is the best one, in recent times, because of aggravated burglary, the popular media term for that is home invasion. So it's aggravated burglary. I got information from someone who was outraged, a serving police officer, said, when we have reports of an aggravated burglary or a home invasion, I'll use both terms so everyone knows what I'm talking about, and nothing is stolen, we'll treat that as a trespass. See, this is the creative accounting again. So someone's broken into your house, but they didn't get the laptop, couldn't do anything. Perhaps the guard dog chewed them, frightened them off or something, and nothing got stolen, so that's a trespass.
Despite the fact they've levered the security door off its hinges and probably given you a smack around the ear as well. That's only a trespass.
Not too sure how you prove trespass if no one tells you to leave and you don't go, but never mind. That's the sort of creative accounting things that they're doing.
Yes.
And clearance rates and so forth for offences, which was the bane of all police accounting, because you have an offence situation and then if it got cleared, it come off the books, so you've got a result and so forth, but some don't and some get filed. And, well, the criteria for that keeps changing all the time too, even when it comes to traffic crashes and so forth. If the criteria doesn't meet the traffic, it gets filed. And no one gets in. And police attending crashes? No, they don't attend crashes unless someone's injured. And all that sort of stuff there has needed to happen because there's not enough of them to do the job. There's not enough of them to do the job. And someone needs to bite the bullet. And if Michelle Roberts is in a position to do so, well, now's a fine time to do it. And with elections coming up in March of next year.
Yes, that's right.
And my understanding is the Commissioner will go about the 17th of August this year. So he's on the way out. Perhaps that's why he's suddenly bumping his gums about some certain things he wouldn't dare speak about this time last year. But that's only me second-guessing what the situation may be.
Yeah.
But not good.
No, well, the thing about it is, in terms of numbers of police, I would have thought with all that is going on in the world these days and in this country as well, that the need for more police would be welcomed by the public, and why they're not why they still cower in fear that,
Exactly.
they believe they've lost control if they increase police numbers. That's just an absolute nonsense. The reason that they would need more police is because there are more baddies out there.
Is it not reassuring to see police around the place?
Oh, I love it. I really do.
And not because I had a lot of time working with them, and they're all the brothers and sisters, and that's fine. It is reassuring to see them.
Yeah, of course it
is.
And
if you're not there, if you don't see them, even the most numptiest of crooks, if he doesn't see them, he's well entitled to believe that they're not there.
Yeah, of course he is.
And, of course, in this day and age, unfortunately, you only need about a 3-minute head start on the coppers, and you've got a reasonable chance of getting away from being apprehended there and then at the time. So there, and opportunist thieves, it's a growth industry as far as that goes, and a lot of people are complacent in as much as well. And I cite the building industry for the new homes and so forth. They will they certainly are targeted as soon as all the goodies start going in, the range hoods and the ovens and all the rest of it, and the air cons. In come the baddies and lift it all.
Yeah, we've discussed that at length with Jay Mangano from DevRight Homes. She tells us the insurance rates for new building sites are absolutely astronomical.
Yep,
and it's just because it's on the increase. They can't do anything about it, and they just have to make sure that they do what they can. But beyond that, they're absolutely hogtied. And
a lot of people say, "Well, it's covered by insurance."
Yeah,
well,
but
that's not the point. It's not the point.
No, it's not the point. And the point is that, yes, it is covered by insurance, no doubt about that. Yep. But guess what? When you're building a home, you get to pay for that.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And so all the things with Building Watch and all the rest of that stuff there, and I don't know what's happened to Neighbourhood Watch in recent years, but I would predict a flourish in Neighbourhood Watch, and that tends to run in peaks and troughs all the time. When things are going well and we're in the good times and there's not many baddies around the place and houses aren't getting broken into, Neighbourhood Watch takes a bit of a nosedive. When it peaks up again and people are getting houses broken into all the time, and then it comes alive again. And it's just a matter of what it used to be in the old days when I was a kid growing up. My mum and the other mothers in the street all knew who belonged in that street and who didn't belong in that street. And if foreign cars turned up, they all knew that, someone's visiting Madjo. Who's that?
And they'd take numbers
absolutely,
and do all of that.
They just talk to each other about it. But in this day and age, you are forgiven for not even knowing the name of your next-door neighbour.
That's right.
Because everyone keeps to themselves.
Yeah, they certainly do. Look, it's something that I really do hope that the Commissioner finds some Dutch courage and says a few more words about it before he goes and leaves his successor some sort of target to meet.
Well, he's been hiding to nothing, the new chum, whoever that person is, to inherit what's coming up, unless they get something squared away in reasonably short term. And if the model that they're using currently is not working, and the indications are cynically, he says, that then it's not working, get another one.
Yeah, that's right.
Contrary to popular belief, everything that comes out of the UK is not the best in the world.
No.
So try something else.
That's right.
And the cops on the street will say it's not working. They're the ones that are supposed to deliver the goods, and they would know that they're the ones getting it at the hiding as far as delivering results go. And if they say, well, the way it's working now, it needs to change, well, let's get it done.
Absolutely. I think tomorrow would be fair enough.
Do it now if you like. The next half an hour.
I'll get the Commissioner on the phone and I'll make an appointment for you.
Go on then. He'd go into 6PR, but they keep firebombing that place all the time, so we can't go in there.
Yes, well, why do you raise that? That's an interesting one. I thought it was really funny because they firebombed the door, right? So they've set fire to the door, and immediately it's 6PR that's the target.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I mean, with 6 listeners, you'd wonder why that would be.
Well, exactly
you?
Right.
They conveniently ignored the fact that WA Today were in there.
Yep.
The Housing Commission's got offices in there, and 96 FM lives in there as well.
Sure do.
So it was 6PR that they were trying to...
Yes, that's good copy. And you would know as well as I do that the fire door exit from that there is about 1.5 feet thick.
Yeah,
they wouldn't have got through that with a howitzer, let alone put himself a plastic bag with some paper in and set fire to it.
Indeed not. Indeed not.
So the scorched earth policy didn't work.
No,
whoever they're going for.
No, well, we don't know, you see, but it's according to WA Today, it's 6PR, and that's that.
He wouldn't be after Peter Bell. He's gone, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Wave goodbye to Peter.
I think, December,
is it?
I think.
Yeah, he's on the way.
Yeah. Oh, well, he's off to the sheltered workshop at the ABC.
There you go. with Auntie. Wonderful.
Oh, look, you may as well rate poorly there as at 6PR, but there you go. I'm a bit cynical this morning, aren't I?
And after being away for a week too, you get back refreshed and re-cynicaled.
Re-cynicaled.
Rather than recycled as I am.
Look, on another, kind of serious matter, I mean, talk about serious, the Four Corners program on the Northern Territory Detention Centre. My goodness me, that was just unbelievable.
I thought I was looking at something from Guantanamo Bay. I thought it was some of that sort of stuff. I thought, where is this again?
Yeah.
Northern Territory. What a disgrace. Absolute disgrace.
I'll put something out there. Malcolm Turnbull immediately called for a Royal Commission and has set one up, or is in the process of setting one up. Here's my take on it. I don't think you need a Royal Commission.
Exactly. Why would you?
We know what's going on there. Why can't they send some very authoritative people in there and fix it?
Is Royal Commission's, the thrust between Royal Commission is to discover the truth of the matter.
Don't think that's in doubt, is it?
Well, it's pretty open, I think. It's you know what's happening in there. Get in there with your big broad brush and broom, sweep out of there, hose those ones out of there and start again, because it needs action. It doesn't need Royal Commission.
No, it doesn't.
It needs someone to get in there and changing places with some of these bods that are in the cells with those who are keeping those in the cells. They need to swap places with some of them. How does this go on for this time? And who blew the whistle on this anyway?
Look, I don't know who blew the whistle on it, but somebody got hold of some footage from the security cameras and gave it to Four Corners and all sorts of stuff. I mean, it's a good thing that it happened, and I hope whoever did it isn't suffering at all, and maybe they don't even know who it was. That is the authorities. But at the end of the day, it's come out now. And look, when you've got something as clear cut as that, I mean, it's terrible. It's just
that's
awful.
An absolute disgrace. Yes.
There's no need for a Royal Commission at a cost of probably, you wouldn't get much change out of 100 million. For a Royal Commission. No. Why can't they just go in there and fix it? And
exactly.
And as you say, hose all of those people out and start retraining. You know, or you can't do that sort of stuff. But look, that said, I reckon there'd be some pretty undesirable people that are put in there. I mean, I've obviously never worked in there, but it just seems to me that some of them are absolutely incorrigible. You can't. They're there because they just have, I don't know, they don't have any concept of right and wrong, and I guess that they're fairly aggressive in there. So there has to be methods by which you can contain all of that.
True, but it shouldn't get to torture.
No,
and it's for whoever sent the footage to the media, good. I wonder where it went as well. I mean, the media is a place to go to with it, I suppose, for the exposure it's going to get. If the person's concerned that if he flung it into the Department of Corrections, not only would it get shoved in a drawer someplace, perhaps, but reasonably minded people are outraged by it. So you'd expect in the Department of Corrections there that somebody in senior level would be just as equally outraged as you and I and everybody else is about it. So the risk of this person losing their job for doing so would not be there. So having said that, was the media the only place it went to? If it is not the only place it went to, why is no one else up in arms and banging on the counter and demanding heads and all the rest of it? So I'd say it only went to the media.
Look, it probably did, Neil, but the thing I think about giving it to the media, and certainly a media outlet like Four Corners, it's going to get treated. There's going to be no sweeping it under the carpet or anything like that. There's nowhere to hide. Once that's out there, and it was graphic, absolutely graphic. My wife couldn't watch it. She couldn't stand looking at it, and Despine was telling me a little earlier that she couldn't.
Yep, same. I mean,
it was really confronting in the worst possible way. It really was. But I guess now that it's out there, something's going to have to be done, and something will be done. I just don't think a Royal Commission.
I don't think so. It needs action right now in the strongest possible measures. Move all those people out and start again. And I agree with you. The bods that are in there are not little angels and so forth, but it's a juvenile detention centre, is it not? So and they say juvenile up to age 22 or 23, which is actually not juveniles, they're adults. But having said that, putting bags over people's heads and tying them up to chairs and all the rest of it, and putting 6 of them in a 6x4 or 6x3 cell, standing up in the darkness for hours on all this stuff there. This is straight out of Guantanamo Bay.
Well, it certainly is. And once again, they're pretty animalistic, some of those people, the inmates there, you know, spitting at people and that sort of stuff. I mean, that's just not on. That's awful. And you can't make it so that it's like Club Med or anything like that. You've got to have some harshness in there, do you not?
Well, somebody once said the only activity in life without discipline is a riot, and that is true. There's got to be discipline of some kind there, but it has to have the bounds of humanity involved in it.
Of course it does.
It really does. So for all those, and this has not just happened over the weekend, this has been going on for ages apparently.
Oh yeah, indeed. And that's where I think probably giving it to Four Corners was probably a good idea, because you don't know how far that culture of torture and mistreatment and that goes within the Department of Corrections. You don't know.
No.
And if it's given to the wrong level, the tape may just go in the bin. And never surface.
So is that the thrust behind the Prime Minister saying that it needs a Royal Commission in case it is swept under the carpet by somebody? It can't now. It's too much. It's out there. It's out there, and everyone knows about it.
Look, I think that's a bit political what he did. I think people were going to call for a Royal Commission whether it was needed or not. So he's preempted that and said we're going to have one.
Yep.
And he's had no criticism of it, apart from the fact that on social media a lot of people have said what we've been saying, and that is that you can fix this without a Royal Commission, but okay, let's have it anyway. I mean,
well, they're going to have a Royal Commission according to one of the newest senators into halal, are they not? Spare me.
Senator,
let's not waste all our money on Royal Commissions. Yes, let's not waste our money on that. Let's get the action.
It's a whole new industry, isn't it?
It is.
You know, can I coordinate a Royal Commission? What's the salary?
Well, all you got to be a barrister or a solicitor, and
that's right.
And then hope someone points a finger at you to chair it for 3 years.
That's right, and buy a new boat.
Yeah.
I really have been freshly syndicalised, haven't I?
I have too, and I certainly hope that now the lid's off, that they get action on this fast and furious, and don't wait for the results of a 3-year Royal Commission. Get in and get it done now.
Absolutely. And you can still have your Royal Commission, but fix it now, for God's sake.
Absolutely.
Can't let that go on for 1 minute longer. Okay, so just to finish off, teaching a loved one to drive.
You're doing that. You're a very brave person.
I am doing that, and that's, see, this hair used to be white. It's now white. It used to be quite a nice shade of brown.
And that was only from last week.
That's right.
Wow. It is a very daunting state of affairs, and my guidance along as a person who has taught his sons and so forth, and as a driving instructor for the police over a number of years on motorcycles and cars, but I was teaching police how to pursue and do other things there, which is all enhancement of good driving practices, because the copper's got to be able to drive fast and do certain things and be risk averse and all the rest of it.
Of course.
So all those things that are there certainly are there for the person in the street. And even coming in this morning, I was just looking at the traffic lights, for example, and I do tend to, as other drivers would, to when you're approaching the traffic lights, you drive to anticipate that they will change rather than drive to beat them at all costs. And people in this day and age rely far too much on their brakes on their cars. I'm slowing down because the light's amber and it's going to change red if the normal sequence takes place, unless a purple comes in there somewhere or other. But it would normally be after 3 seconds a red. So I know that's happening. So I've decelerated. I'm not braking. You just took my foot off because I'm going to have to stop in any case. Yeah. But they still overtake you and get in front of you, and then they're doing their braking right at the last minute.
That's right.
Not only is it bad driving, it's the wear and tear on your motor car is murder. Yes. You're relying entirely upon the mechanics of the vehicle and your reaction time to do these sorts of things.
It gives you no time if something does, in the unlikely event something does go wrong with your brakes, you've got a little bit of time to actually do something about it. Use the handbrake, for example, or pull it down 3 or 4 gears, or put it in a park or something.
And I suppose, and I think the circumstances are that in your case, where you're doing the finishing touches to the student you're teaching, your nephew, is it?
It's my grandson.
Ideally, he would have had some driving lessons.
He has had
from
lessons.
A professional.
Yes,
that's great. And learn, because you will have some bad habits. I I'm loath to say that's Murray, but
Neil, come on.
The only ones with dirty habits and who used to work in a nunnery, but that was the clothes they're wearing, perhaps. But the look of it all, as far as give them a couple of lessons professionally, so that what the rules are, and then enhance those things.
And he continues to have them as well.
Because the logbook stuff's still in, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, and it's actually more extensive than when I taught my daughter to drive. It's gone, have to do more hours now, and you've got to do a driving test on a simulator and all sorts of things. It's really quite extensive.
120 hours supervised driving,
something like that. Yeah, and this is what we're doing with him is hours building. But the interesting thing is, you really do have to be on your toes. This is one thing that I think a lot of people don't realise, and that is that you're actually in command of this thing because he doesn't have a licence. You have the licence, and you have to be wide awake, and you have to be doubly vigilant about what he might do. Not only do you have to watch the traffic around you to see who's trying to kill you, but you have to watch what your student is doing because he doesn't have the perception that you have.
True.
You know? So you've really got to be on your toes.
And we know that talking to people and listening to radios and so forth in your car is a distraction.
Yes, it is.
But if you're trying to teach the person, you cannot sit there and say nothing when you see he's doing something obviously wrong. So he's got to be concentrating what he's doing as far as the traffic goes, and listen to what you've got to say, because you're often being worldly and worldly advice on what he should and should not be doing because you are an experienced driver. Then he's got to put that into perspective and work out how to do those sort of things. And you are sitting there without the added protection of dual control view.
Yes, and
you've got nothing, no brake, no nothing.
Brake, yeah.
And the temptation to reach over and grab the steering wheel, which has happened to me from time to time.
Yes.
When it's obvious the driver has not got the message and and something catastrophic going to happen. You don't want any of that, because it not only unnerves the driver, but it certainly unnerves the teacher who is out the passenger door and waving down the first bus to take them home.
Yes.
Get yourself home in that car, I'm not driving anymore, you're a maniac. All that sort of stuff.
But you're quite right, and this is one of the things that I was also going to make mention of, and that is that you can't talk too much. They can't do things while they're listening to you. So make salient points, but don't yap in their ear the whole time.
And that's why it's fraught with danger when I see him from time to time, the learner driver, and there's three of his mates in the back seat, or his sister and his sister's two girlfriends, and all that sort of stuff there. And that's extra pressure for the person. They need to be focused entirely on what they're doing. And when it comes to driving a motor car, that should be the complete focus, is driving the motor car, not listen to the radio or whatever it is, because there's that many things for you to look for and to observe and to assess and be prepared to take action for that you really do have your faculties all about you on that function, which is concentrating on your driving.
Yeah, and of course the other thing is they don't have any inbuilt reactions. In other words, they don't do things by unconsciously, like, for example, changing gears. They think and they listen to the engine, whereas an experienced driver will instinctively know when he has to change gear without having to think about that. And they're the things that, they're thinking about. So yapping in their ear all that much is not a good idea. And I tend to pull over somewhere and we have a little chat about things for 5 or 10 minutes. Does two things. First of all, he's focusing on what I'm saying.
Yep.
Second of all, it's taking a bit of the pressure off him because he gets a little bit of a break between lessons. So
true. Good luck.
Well, look, I think I'm going to need it. It really, it's an interesting experience. I have to say, and it's maybe a kind of a sexist thing, but I think lady drivers are better being taught than boys.
It's easier to teach a female than a male, you're saying?
Yeah, that's been my experience. Mind you, an experience of two. So it's not exactly broad.
I'll draw two parallels. Teaching police drivers how to be pursuit police drivers, male and female. Even I hear what you're saying, that some take instruction better than others. Some listen more than others. Some act, et cetera, et cetera.
That's kind of where I'm with that.
It was probably easier because everyone fancied themselves to get your pursuit license in the police. You want to get up there with them, and if you don't make the grade and you're out the door, it's a bit embarrassing. So everyone fancies themselves, and you would know as well as anybody else, if you want to start a fight in a motor car with anybody, criticise their driving. You'll have them at your throat. And that's what you hear. I'm not taking him ever again. I'm not taking it, and all that. And you do. Because to impart your knowledge on someone and remain level-headed while you're doing it is just as fraught with just as much danger out there on Leach Highway or on the freeway in amongst traffic travelling at the recognised speed limit, etc., as it would be at Wanneroo racetrack when you're telling the driver, brake now, brake now, brake now, brake now. So it's all there, and there's a lot to be expected from the driver, but my heavens, there's lots to be expected from those imparting the knowledge.
Indeed there is. There's no question about that at all.
I wish you well with that.
Thank you, Neil. Neil, thank you very much for today. It's been a fascinating discussion as always. Thanks for coming in and doing that with us. And we look forward to catching up with you again next week.
Let's do that.
More on the Sattler Files very shortly.
This is the Sattler Files.